Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very, very accomplished serial entrepreneur from USA, Mr. Tal Zlotnitsky. Tal, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashutosh. It's great to be with you.
Thank you. Tal is the founder and CEO of Our.Love Company, a love and relationship wellness technology company. He's a serial startup entrepreneur and has done 6 startups, and he's an angel investor. So Tal, let's talk about Our.Love Company. Tell me a little bit about this venture.
Sure. So this venture is designed to create an opportunity for us to love the one we're with. There's been a lot of technology to help us find love. There are over 500 million people worldwide that use technology for dating, but there's not been technology, or at least not effective technology, to help people stay in love with the one they're with and feel closer and understood and appreciated and seen by the person that they're in a relationship with. The objective of the technology is to create an opportunity for people to feel closer to their partner and build a lasting relationship.
So for my viewers and listeners, can you help me understand how this works?
Absolutely. So when I started looking at this, and this was in October of 2019 when I started considering technology related to love. And I was myself going through a difficult time and actually going through a divorce, which made me very aware of the importance of love in our lives.
Yep.
And I started doing a lot of reading. You can see behind me, there are a lot of books. I did a lot of reading about the topic. And of course, there's tons and tons of content about love. The challenge that I found, and the reason I thought that the technology company was the solution, is that the information is largely available in books. And the science of relationship love is pretty clear, actually. It's been pretty clear for about 30 years. The challenge is people are not able to access it. So I saw it as not a problem of supply because the knowledge is available. It's not a problem of demand. I did some surveys with SurveyMonkey, a national survey in the United States. It showed 6 in 10 Americans are interested in loving the one they're with, and it was their number 1 priority. More than 8 in 10 placed it as one of their top 3 priorities, but people don't know how to do it. So it's not a supply problem. It's not a demand problem. That makes it a distribution problem. So I viewed it as the problem was that people were unable to access this information when they needed it. It's not very comfortable or convenient to go pull up a book and start flipping through it. People needed something more immediate. And so the idea of the app is to give them something more immediate. Now, reality is people don't really like therapy, and people don't really enjoy, feeling like they're in therapy or seeing a doctor or a specialist. And so we designed it as a game. So the concept is a combination of the best of relationship science. We've got incredible scientists on the team. It's designed to be gamified so that it's a fun, joyful experience. As you engage with the content, you earn something we are calling love coins. And so literally everything you do, whether it's watch a funny video or read something or listen to audio or play a game, you earn some love coins. And you can use those love coins to decorate your virtual home and to buy virtual gifts for your partner. And in time, we also anticipate giving people the opportunity to buy real world gifts with their love coins. So it's an opportunity to focus on your relationship, but also at the same time, have fun with your partner and have fun yourself.
Very interesting. So, I'm either much older or I haven't not being able to relate too much about this. But if you love someone, there are a lot of biological reactions that get set off between 2 individuals. How does technology step in and get all those love juices flowing within 2 individuals?
Well, the same way that education steps in to help us be successful at our jobs, right? So a lot of times what separates couples that are happy and healthy, right? So, and I want to touch on this point really quick. The statistics in the United States from a study in 2019 show that only 10% of couples, 1 in 10 couples, were both healthy and happy. So knowledge is incredible power. And I'm sure you know that very, very well. And it's true really in almost anything that matters. So the reality of it is that most of us, when we went to school, no one taught us how to love properly. No one taught us the vocabulary of love. We don't even understand what are the key handful of things. It turns out there are 7 very critical words, and those words represent 7 very distinct things. and you need to understand them, and you need to know when to use them. So if you're a mechanic and you're fixing a car, if you don't know what a wrench is or you don't know what a plier is, you're going to have a really difficult time fixing the car. The same is true in relationships. You need to understand certain things that are not necessarily self-evident. They're not about, if you don't know them, you don't love the person. It's not about that. It's really simply about knowing the skills and being able to access the skills in real time and apply them to your relationship. Once you know how to do it, it's no different than driving a car. You know to turn your indicator, you know to turn left or turn right, because you now understand how it works. And the same applies to relationships.
Fascinating. So, for my young viewers and listeners, as a love guru, what would you say are some of these points, the 7 points that you've just spoken about?
Absolutely. Well, I wouldn't call myself a love guru, but what I would say is that I have become a bit of a layman's master, right? I understand these skills very, very well, and I'm practicing them in my own relationship. I would say number one is curiosity. And curiosity is often misunderstood. People assume curiosity means asking questions, but curiosity is really mainly about shutting down your inner dialogue when you're hearing someone speak to you. So you ask a question, that's obviously critical, but then you shut down the inner dialogue inside you that is interpreting and analyzing and applying meaning. You're simply listening with a completely clear and open mind, and you're not attempting to formulate your answer. A lot of us, when we're having conversations, are really, the breaks between us speaking are about us trying to think about the next thing we want to say. So a big challenge is that people don't do that very well. And here's what that means. A lot of times your partner begins to know your tics, whether it's you're leaning in, you're beginning to open your mouth, maybe you're gesturing with your hands. And what that does is it shuts your partner down. So as opposed to your partner feeling welcome to share their feelings openly and not being concerned that you're going to interrupt them or stop them or dismiss them or tell them something negative about their feelings or their views, they know that you're going to listen wholeheartedly and with full mindfulness. That is a huge, almost critical aspect of any communication that you have in life, but even more so in your romantic relationship. So that's one example. I'm happy to go through the other 6.
Yeah, please do. I mean, we've got all the time to discuss our love company.
So this, you got it. So the second one is appreciation. And again, appreciation is not often understood. So some of us assume that, if we get up from the dinner table and we say thank you to our spouse for making us a meal, that we're being appropriately appreciative. Appreciation is actually about surprising your partner with kindness. It's about recognizing things that you haven't maybe recognized. It's about recognizing the things that matter to them and about doing it at the appropriate time. So here's one really cool feature in our app. So we have a feature in the app that allows you to share your mood with your partner. So that's pretty straightforward, but when you go in, you can change your mood. It's a house, and the house has big French doors in the back. And as you change your mood, the weather in the back door changes. So if you change your mood from sunny, if you're having a not such a great day and you've changed your mood to a rainy day, the back windows that your partner will see in their relationship home is going to show a storm, right? Now, not only can you share your mood, you can also share why you're feeling that way. So you can indicate, I'm feeling this way because parenting, I'm having issues with our children. When your partner receives that message, we provide your partner with the opportunity to respond specifically to the challenge that you're experiencing. A lot of times it's those moments when your partner is feeling stressed and feeling really worn down. If you are able to step in and say, you know what, you're a wonderful mom. You're always present for our kids. Our kids can always count on you. And I can always count on you to love our kids. And if your spouse is having a really difficult day, that is really impactful. So appreciation and appreciating the right things, right? Not appreciating the things that maybe we normally see, but having an open mind and keeping your eyes open for opportunities to appreciate your partner. Quality time, right? So quality time, Ashutosh, is again often misunderstood. People believe that if they go to dinner with their partner, then that's quality time. Quality time can be had at home. It doesn't necessarily require hours. It could be 5 minutes, but it's time where you and your partner are 100% focused on each other. There's eye contact. The conversation is about meaningful things. There is ideally an expression of affection, whether it's a smile or a touch, and quality time that's done that way, as opposed to let's go to dinner and we'll stare at our phones or we'll talk about the weather, makes all the difference in the world. So even if it's just 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day that you are connected to your partner, through quality time, that is a very, very meaningful thing. I'm going to pause. I've got four more, but before I continue, I just want to make sure that you want me to continue.
No. I would like you to continue because,
sounds great.
For me, this, curiosity, appreciation, quality time are fantastic three pointers, and I'd love to hear the other four as well.
You got it. So the fourth one is vulnerability, right? So vulnerability is, again, often misunderstood, right? Yeah. So vulnerability is about your partner. This is not about you. It's about your partner feeling that they can be very, very honest with you about their feelings, including saying things that are scary or uncomfortable, without being concerned that your reaction is going to be harsh. Okay. Now, the same thing in reverse. Obviously, we ourselves need to be vulnerable. All of us we're human beings. We struggle every day on some level. And so being able to share our vulnerability with our partner is really critical. A lot of men struggle with this. A lot of men struggle because they have maybe been raised in cultures where it's expected of the man to be strong and to be stoic and not show emotion and not cry. And what it ends up doing is we end up bottling a lot of emotions inside. A lot of those emotions are about fear. A lot of those emotions are about concern of letting someone down, letting our partner down, letting our children down. So for a man to be able to be vulnerable in a relationship and know that my spouse is not going to view me as weak, they're not going to view me as unreliable, they're going to love me, they're going to help me feel better, and I'm going to help them feel better. So that's vulnerability. Support is another critical one. Now, support is oftentimes about emotional support. Not just obviously the support around whether it's around the house or with children or with elderly parents. That's a given. But for a lot of people, when they provide support, they do it in a way that causes their partner to feel like they've put something upon them, right? So as opposed to giving your partner not just the support they need, but the mental and emotional sensation of, oh my God, my partner is there for me. I don't need to worry about whether they're feeling bad about it. They're not going to make me feel bad about it. They're not going to, remind me of all the things they've done for me. They're simply going to be there. They're going to support me. Now, what kind of support are we talking about? It ranges, right? So support can be, and that's where, by the way, curiosity comes into play, right? Because oftentimes we don't have to guess what kind of support our partner needs. If we are curious, genuinely curious, as I described before, and if we allow our partner to be vulnerable, our partner will be very transparent about where they need support. Okay. So again, this is the interweaving of these skills where the more you know one, the more it applies to others. Accountability is a huge problem for people. Most people, when they're approached by anyone, let alone their partner, a complaint or a concern, they tend to rationalize as opposed to listening and absorbing and trying to understand that, my partner is another human being just like I am. They have eyes and ears, and ideally they work and their sensations work, and they're experiencing life and their reality, whatever they're seeing out of their eyes or hearing out of their ears or is every bit as real as what we experience as our own reality. And we must stop assuming that we saw the real reality and therefore we must explain reality to them. We must appreciate that their version of reality is every bit as real. And if they come to us with something that represents a concern, a problem, a need, what we ought to do is first, again, approach it with curiosity. Why do you feel this way? How could I be doing it differently? Second, be vulnerable. You know what? I know why you feel this way. I've been feeling a huge amount of stress, and I know it's not an excuse, and I take responsibility for my actions. Don't make excuses. A lot of people say, well, here's why I'm angry. I'm angry because I had a bad day at work. I'm angry because our kids did this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't give you the right to get angry at your spouse. Your spouse is a fellow human being. Just as we don't like to be yelled at or treated disrespectfully by anyone, we must appreciate that our spouse deserves to be treated with the same amount of respect. We should not make excuses. We should not gaslight. A lot of people tell things, try to tell their partner, you didn't know, that's not what happened. It's not what I said. It doesn't even matter if that's what you said. If that's what your partner heard, take responsibility and say, you know what, I'm sorry that you heard it this way. It wasn't what I intended for you to hear, but I appreciate that if that's what you think you heard, then that is what you heard. Let's talk about how to make it better. Wonderful. Last but not least, of course, is physical connection. Now,
Yeah.
we're putting it last on the list, not because it's least important.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a very, very, very important part of a relationship.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, if you take care of the first 6 things, if you're curious, if you show appreciation, if you make sure to make enough time for quality time, if you're vulnerable, if you show support, if you're accountable, physical contact will take care of itself. How about that? That's commitment I'll make to you and all your listeners. Do the other things, and physical connection will be a source of celebration for both of you. And it'll be tough for you to take your hands off each other. How about that?
Amazing, amazing. I mean, Tal, I must compliment you. I haven't heard
Thank you.
7 points so clearly articulated on the subject of love. I mean, just to repeat what you told us: curiosity, appreciation, quality time, vulnerability, support, accountability, and physical connection. And the last one you say is the outcome of the first 6. That's absolutely incredible. So, a question for you: is this primarily for partners who are in a relationship, or is it also with children or parents or siblings? I mean, love is there with everyone.
You're exactly right, Ashutosh, and I'm glad you mentioned that. So our intent, and this is the reason we called it Our.Love and not romantic love. There are a handful of other apps, and their name suggests they're about a couple, right? There's a very good app called Paired. So we actually very, very mindfully are building a product that we think has application beyond romantic love. Now, we think the romantic love aspect of it is so critical, because if you are raising children in particular, and they are raised in a home where the 7 things I've just described are taking place, of course, the 7th should be out of sight, but and not that showing affection, physical connection can also be holding hands, touching each other in ways that show love and affection. Doesn't only have to be in the bedroom, of course. Another aspect that a lot of men don't appreciate. The women in particular, and I'm being generalist, of course, it's not everyone's the same, but there's a lot of touching a hand, showing love, a hug. By the way, I highly recommend what's known as the 6-second kiss and the 30-second hug. These are documented to work. If you have a kiss, it doesn't even have to be the most passionate kiss, but a 6-second kiss, holding a kiss for 6 seconds with your partner, is known to activate certain endorphins in your body and help you feel closer. But yes, I mean, I think that every one of these 7 skills has application in relationship with one's children, relationship with one's elderly parents or adult parents, in relationship with your friends, in relationship with your siblings, in relationships with your coworkers. Ultimately, almost all of these things, the beauty of this is almost all these things are portable to other relationships. So yes, in time, it is absolutely our intent to expand this wider.
And have you seen the utilization of Our.Love app across age groups, or is it more focused on the younger millennials, Gen Zs, and lesser for the 60 plus kind of relationships?
Yeah. So, we came to the market on February 14th. So we are now just under 4 weeks in the marketplace. And it's been very, very interesting to look at the data. We are seeing a lot of concentration of millennials and Generation Z. There's no question about it. And that was as we expected. But we are actually seeing a surprising mix of ages. There is, that we've seen some couples in their 80s. So I'm not shocked. Every one of us wants love. It doesn't really matter what stage in our lives we're in.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even matter really necessarily whether, we are currently feeling it right for our partner. What matters is that we want to feel it. And ideally that our partner wants to feel it as well. So my expectations are that the vast majority of our users will be somewhere between Gen Z, Millennials, and probably Generation X like you and me. But in time, I think that, it's entirely possible that groups of people in other ages, maybe even a little bit younger, 18 plus or older generations, will tap into it, because we all want to love more and better. We all do.
Well, I think you were very kind when you said you and me. I'm more from the boomers generation. But
is that right? Okay. Well, you look great for your age. How about that?
Thank you. But I've got time for one more question. And what I wanted to ask you was that, you've given some amazing thoughts for our viewers and listeners to look at, and I'd urge everyone to go and look for Our.Love app and see what you can get out of it. But do you also have, if I can use the word recourse, that if things are not working, do you have some counselors who people can go back to you to and say, hey, I'm trying very hard, but it's not working, or that's beyond the scope of your mandate?
So I would put it to you this way. We do envision working with therapists as we go forward, but we ourselves are not therapists. The mission of Our.Love is to give ordinary couples, everyday couples who are in relationships, and there's not necessarily a crisis. There's just maybe fatigue. There's just maybe lack of attention. We're not feeling so close. We're not showing each other enough affection. It's not something, here's the beauty of it. You know it, right? If you're in a relationship and you know that you're not quite giving it enough, it's easy to push that aside and say, oh, I'll get to it later. The kids are young. I'm working on my career. All of those excuses. But reality is this. Yes, you do have 5 minutes a day, because that's really all it takes. If you committed the 5 minutes a day of opening the app, updating your mood, sharing an appreciation with your partner, watching a video, playing a game, right? I give you my assurance that you're going to feel closer to your partner. Now, there's another really interesting feature in the app, which I think men especially are going to appreciate a lot, and that's the tracker. So for each of those 7 skills I told you about, Ashutosh, we actually give you and your partner the opportunity to answer 7 questions. They're answering it for themselves and for their partner and vice versa. And those 7 questions activate a tracker, a relationship wellness tracker. It's basically a bank account. It's a balance for each of those 7 skills. And so you can see, okay, well, I feel like we're doing really well here. My partner does not. Well, let me tell you something about a relationship. If one of the 2 people does not feel that things are going well, then they're not going well, right? You're not going to convince them by, again, it goes back to being accountable and understanding your partner's point of view and their reality's reality. So I think for a lot of men, especially in our focus groups and our testing, they really like that feature, being able to see what their partner feels in real time. Now, it's an artificial intelligence tool. So as you engage with the app, we're going to continuously evaluate what the scores are. And we're going to give you and your partner a new look at the scores. Every time there's a change, you're going to see a change, and it's based on the work you do and your feedback and your partner's feedback. And the opportunity is to continuously improve. It's like, when we invest, right? What are we looking for? We're not looking for ups and downs. We're hoping to go this way.
Correct.
Why not have the exact same target for our relationship?
How interesting. Tal, on that note, I just want to say what an incredible conversation I've had with you. It's amazing how much you are doing to be able to not just build and enhance relationships, but to give back so much in terms of learning to one emotion, which I think is the most valuable emotion each one of us cherishes, which is love. Thank you so much for talking to me about the way you got started, about all the incredible work you are doing, and more importantly, thank you for telling me and my viewers and listeners all the amazing things that are likely to come as you keep on developing your app more and more. I will certainly go and check out Our.Love app. And I'd urge all my viewers and listeners to check it out as well. But thank you again, Tal, and good luck.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.